Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, I thought I'd mention how feminists, they're encouraging women to kind of move beyond men and have all these female communities where they raise children and where men are not put at the center and all that. And they're encouraging women to really increase their body count, which actually makes them less desirable for marriage, which means they'll be less secure and unlikely to be picked for marriage with a quality, safe man. And if you notice, they have not set up a building or a facility where only women can live and where it's a communal child-rearing effort. Even the feminists who create these little mini covens, they're far and few between. So notice how the feminist destroys, disrupts, and disables before actually having the safety net to catch those who follow their philosophy. They have not actually set up that type of system. They seek the government to be the husband. They want to really expand those programs. But then, when the woman is alone, unsupported, doesn't have a community, the government didn't really solve her problem necessarily. Give her some help for rent and, some food stamps and whatnot. But that doesn't actually help her to raise the child, because the mother will have to be working 2 jobs or prostituting herself on OnlyFans and such in order to make ends meet if she doesn't have a family. So, what I think is quite crazy is that why would a young woman think to herself, I'm gonna go into massive amounts of debt, I'm gonna sleep around, I'm gonna party, make my body sick, I'm gonna abort any child that comes in, and then around 31, 32, I'm gonna start looking for a guy, and I don't want to be a second wife or, religious, and I'm going to find this sort of unicorn and think it's all going to work out. And it's quite strange. It's quite strange because they don't set up their utopia, their matriarchal utopia, where women are just brushing each other's hair and there's no catfighting. It's just them changing every diaper of every child and helping. That doesn't exist and never has. You've had nuns who helped and religious people who've helped, but you've never had secular liberals running a huge commune where there's only women rearing children and there is 0 men within the premises. So while the rad femmes who have shared their screenshots on my blog, they'll say don't get married. They encourage promiscuity. They encourage abortions. They mock you if you're not into, drinking, smoking weed, and using drugs, oftentimes. And dressing really whorish, and then really mocking modesty. So, let's follow that logic. They're encouraging women to do things that will make them less desirable for getting a pair bonding mate, or they will have a blanket of security, and instead it will leave them alone, under-supported and underfunded, and will push them to be working so much that they will resent their life, when they could have been a kept woman in a secure patriarchal household and been allowed to actually be more feminine. So, you gotta be really twisted if you encourage women to engage in behavior that will leave them destitute and you have no utopian all-female building, commune, or property. Why don't these feminists who reject a lot of them religion, right? why don't they buy some land? Why don't they come together, buy, 100 acres, set up their little utopia where it's all only women, no men allowed, okay? And where it's a place of refuge for women who want to be empowered, single boss babes, and they live there with their children. Let's see how that works out. But it's not there. Why don't they create that? Why don't they do that? Why do they promote everything that mocks traditional living while they don't set up the opposite of what they want? It's really easy for them to attack the castle that religions have built. Christianity, Islam, right? It's very easy for them to just scratch at the walls and want to burn it all down. But then they don't have their private little villages that's run by all women and where no man is there as a patriarchal figure, and where they're all independent women who are helping each other raise the children. It's all talk. And then these women are on TikTok crying. You see them. That there's no more men. Men ain't this, men ain't that. And then they're shocked to find that they let so many guys get it and leave. And that the line of men eventually stopped being there. Or that their IVF and their frozen egg procedures aren't working, and they couldn't have it all. Where are these places for only women to go to retire, where there's no men? No male nurses, no male doctors, no male landscapers, only old women. Now, notice, even in Golden Girls, that classic show that I really do like, those were all women who came together, who were widows. But Blanche was still infatuated with men, right? So, and Dorothy just didn't have success. And, well, Sophia, even she had an admirer that came in. But they were roommates and all had money and were all career educated, but they didn't actually just hate men. And they still had arguments. And they still had duties and responsibilities to each other. But they didn't help each other raise each other's kids. They're older and retired, right? And you don't see too many all-female spaces. And the feminists, they love the Rainbow Mafia. Now, men who do drag will be allowed to access female spaces. And if you say only biological females, that'll be discriminatory. So men will still be allowed to be in your all-female spaces. So that's even more bizarre. And then some of those feminists will argue that a man in a dress can be in their community, but that a heterosexual masculine man who's religious can't be, and he's not needed or wanted. I find this to be bizarre. So young women should look at that and say, these feminists who are telling you to do everything men dislike, to behave in a way that reduces your value with men, and will reduce your chances of having a family, they're not setting up a safety net for you. There is no backup plan from them. And that's actually really twisted. It's like a woman who encourages another woman to cheat, and then when that woman cheats and she calls her friend and says, I got caught, I'm homeless, can I come live with you? And that friend's like, no, you can't come live here. Oh, yeah, but you told me to cheat. Yeah, but, I mean, I didn't say I'd house you. Yeah, but you, no, you made the choice. Right? And that is very common. For the Jezebel, gold digger type of main character energy, I'm a goddess women, they encourage the good girls to imitate the bad girls, and then, just like a witch, just like a shaitan, when that girl has ruined her relationship, done something horrible, and she didn't really have means, well, now she's in trouble, ain't she? And even if your friend says, yeah, you can sleep on my couch for a few days, but you gotta figure something out. And then a month goes by and your friend is like, hey, can you move out already? Now you gotta figure your life together. So that person led you to a behavior that when the consequences arrive, they're not gonna help you. Just like when you join a gang, they're not gonna write you letters in prison. You served your function. Goodbye. You're disposable. So feminists who are encouraging this sort of decentering of men don't matter, and really pushing lesbianism and bisexuality on some women and the destruction of the patriarchy, do not have even one commune where only women can go. They say, oh yeah, the government, something government. A lot of programs will be cut with all the war spending, with the national debt. So those programs, like food, whatever, housing, a lot of them will get cut, leaving the women destitute. And she'll have to go and grind at some customer service job where it's soul-sucking vapidity that is just pushing her into nihilism and cynicism, instead of her having a man who she likes to look at, or at least can tolerate, if she's spending time with her children and grandchildren. And then visiting with friends and volunteering and doing other noble tasks. But if your life is simply you chasing ways to pay bills because you lived a feminist, lonely lifestyle, and added to your body count, were a party girl, ruined your reputation, all the men you attract are not men who want to stick around and provide for you, just use you and dump you, pump and dump, well, now you're in a predicament, ain't you? Because the feminists don't have some type of number. Hey, can I get some, 3 feminist nannies to clean my house, to take care of me, and be with me while my kids are here, and babysit for free? Feminists don't have that type of community. They have where they congregate online and have long threads about how bad men are, but they do not have a system set up as a support net for those women. They have a couple programs here, we'll get you some diapers, we'll get you a car seat, but that's not really support, is it? That's not a brick and mortar village, right? So you should think about that. Doesn't mean that you should blindly depend on a man and never have a backup plan in case an accident happens. But you should think, is my behavior going to attract a man who will want to take care of me, who will want to go to work and help me? Examine that. A man to help take burdens of responsibility off your shoulders, so that you're not a burnt out, brittle, tired person. Think about it. Feminists are not making the safety net for you. And them voting for more and more socialism, that's going to eventually crash the economy. And then what's left there? It's your actual religious support communities. And a lot of them will be heterosexual, religious people who were the same people the feminists were mocking before. Examine that. Who do you have in your local area? It's probably women who aren't feminists, who believe in gender roles. And the ghetto hoochie mamas, they're not going to be the rocks for you and give you proper life advice. You must watch out, because there are a lot of women who will give you advice that when things go wrong, they're not giving you a life jacket. They're not sending out the lifeboat for you. And a lot of feminists encourage you to do things that are detrimental to yourself. So examine, what is this feminist telling me to do? Is this feminist going to help me if I need help? And how far is this person going to help me? Examine that. Something to think about. If you'd like to join my blog, it's www.subscribestar.com/MilahanArchive. Hope to see you there.